has been an active leader in Toastmasters since 2003. As the 2009-2010 District 33 Director, she led District 33 to be distinguished. Sherry was also the host district chair for the 2011 Toastmasters International Convention in Las Vegas. She is currently an officer in 4 thriving clubs and was the 2020 District 115 Leadership Committee Chair. Sherry received the 2020 District 115 Behind the Scenes Award and is currently the 2021 District Conference Chair. Please welcome with Finish Strong President Training, past District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Sherry Parker.
Ooh, thank you, Mitch. Nicely done. I appreciate that. Mitch will also be acting tonight as our chat master during the meeting. This will be a very interactive session. What you would like to learn is important, and what we can share with each other is equally important. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Congratulations for stepping up into leadership, and particularly for being the CEO of your Toastmasters Club, the president. As such, you have quite a few responsibilities. Today, we're going to divide this session into a review of your responsibilities, and then we'll go ahead and talk about where your club is now and some of the challenges you might have, especially in this very unique year with the pandemic. We have many challenges that presidents in past years just didn't face. I promise that everything we talk about will be relevant. And I'm not going to provide all of the solutions. In fact, you are going to brainstorm together and come up with solutions and share those experiences which you know have worked really well together in the past. That's when we're going to identify the actions to finish strong. It's not about what has happened in these first 6 months. It's about what's going to happen from this point forward. You all have the opportunity to finish strong. So together, we're going to discover the solutions to your challenges. First of all, let's find out where we stand, how everybody is. Good evening, Gary.
Hello.
I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll. There are 3 questions. Please go ahead and take the time to answer all 3 questions. Nod your head, please, if you see the questions. Right, so let's go ahead and answer number 1. It's multiple choice. How many times have you been a club president? Maybe it's your first time. 2 to 4 times, 5 or more times, like Jesse, or I hope to be president in the future.
Well, if I haven't been.
I hope to be president in the future. That's your choice. If you haven't been and you're here, I assume you have some interest. Or somebody's twisting your arm. Number 2, how often does your executive committee meet? Never, once a month, every 2 months, or quarterly. And then finally, and only for special occasions. And finally, how often does your executive committee check your club success plan? At every executive club meeting or executive committee meeting, occasionally, never, or what's a club success plan? It looks like, well, we're still waiting on a couple of answers. I will give you another 30 seconds. Please go ahead and finish this up. And then we'll find out where we stand. Counting down. Still don't have everybody. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and we will stop. Great. Let's see what happened. Not if you can see. Okay, thank you very much. How many times have you been a club president? Look at this. Almost, well, over half of you have already been a club president 2 to 4 times. That's great. First time, excellent. I'm glad you're here 5 or more times. And then I hope to be president in the future. Thank you for being here. I hope to inspire you to be president in the future. Excellent. How often does your executive committee meet? Never. Thank you for the honesty. Once a month, every 2 months, quarterly, and only for special events, which seems to be the big winner here. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we review the responsibilities of president. I am a firm believer in executive committee meetings and in taking advantage of the resources that Toastmasters International has supplied for us, which include the Club Success Plan. With that in mind, how many of you use the Club Success Plan at every meeting? 29%, pretty good. About a third, occasionally about a third, thank you. Never, okay, again, thank you for the honesty. And then what's a Club Success Plan? Thank you for the honesty. You're going to find out in just a little bit. Excellent. Hey, Ralph, how are you? Before we go on, a few of you joined slightly into the presentation or right before, and you didn't have time to rename yourselves. In order to get credit for your club, please rename yourself by putting in the club's name. And if you're in more than one club that you're getting credit for, put in however many clubs you have.
Sherry,
Yes,
sorry. So Edwina wants to know if she should stay or go. She's actually VP of membership. She might be on the wrong link.
Oh, yeah, it looks like you are. You should probably go ahead and go over. Remember the flyer that you got? It had multiple links on it.
And I actually connected to it.
Okay.
And
yeah.
that's why I'm surprised I'm here, because I did go into that. That's when I made my entry.
Huh. Well, that is interesting. Well, you might click on it again and see what happens.
Okay. Well, I'm so sorry I'm going to have to go because I don't want to create a mess here.
It's okay. Bye. We will miss you.
Ciao. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Very good. So Tino, I see you're with Z Toasters, and Ralph, you're with HB Speakers. Gary, what club are you with?
Saturday Morning Live. But
Okay.
I'm with the Sergeant of Arms. Is that Sergeant at Arms?
No, I'm president. It just that I was the top link. So perhaps, people.
They only sent me one link. Okay.
I don't know. You were on my list, I know, as one of the pre-registered participants, which I suspect maybe you inadvertently clicked on president instead of sergeant.
Okay. All right. Shall I jump off and then try to find it then?
Yes, if you can. And
Okay.
if you want to come back here, you're welcome to.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Will I
Bye.
get credit either way? Will I get credit either way?
Well, it makes more sense for you to do what's most relevant to you and go to the sergeant's training, of course.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Okay, we'll get all these logistics taken care of and return to our business. The president's responsibilities. If you've already been in office this year, you know you've got things that you will do for the club meeting. Some are before, some are during, some are after. You're going to have responsibilities outside of the club meeting, like area council meetings, for instance, and then, of course, the executive committee. Before the club meetings, ask your vice president education about special recognition or member inductions. So you're the face of the club. You're the one who starts the meeting, calls it to order after the sergeant brings everybody to attention. You're the one who gets to talk about club business and about club accomplishments. Of course, share the wealth with your vice president ed and vice president membership and any of the other officers, but you're the one at the front of the room. You need to know what's going on and what to expect. So be sure you talk beforehand. And with member inductions, it's a really great idea if you have a tradition or a routine, like maybe the first meeting or the last meeting of every month, you induct your new members. And then, of course, you can vote them in as soon as they join. But for that special induction ceremony, you might do it on a predictable date every month. Plan the business portion of the meeting. What needs to be covered? And especially if there's elections or any important business that might require voting, be sure you review Robert's Rules of Order and the parliamentary procedure. When you get to the club, of course, go over the meeting agenda. Now, you all realize that Toastmasters International created these slides with in-person meetings in mind. We don't really need to wait to review the agenda until the day of the meeting. You can go online if you're using Free Toast and putting your agendas there, then by all means, go in, see if it's filling up. Ask your VP Ed if they need any help. Come prepared. At our meetings and in the clubs that I belong to, we really value our guests and also our members. And we open our Zoom meetings a half hour beforehand. Gives us a chance to reconnect, check in with each other, and also chat with our guests. As president, you'll be inviting the guests to introduce themselves. So write down their names, be prepared. Of course, again, Zoom has made that easier because the name's right there. But write it down so that you can really give them the attention they deserve. And then during the club meetings, the sergeant opens, you call the meeting to order. This says introduce guests. I think it's wonderful if you ask them to introduce themselves. But if time is limited, tell them up front, maybe before the meeting when you chat with them, that they're going to introduce themselves, but to keep it succinct and give them an example. Please introduce yourselves and tell us why you came to our meeting today, or where are you coming to us from? Just something short and sweet. And one of my favorite things to do as a president is to invite them to join, even at the beginning of the meeting, by saying something humorously like, don't worry that we'll ask you to join because we will. And then they're prepared and they know they're welcome. Explain the meeting's events. In other words, the flow of the meeting. If it's a special event or a contest, or you're doing something out of the ordinary, talk about that. And if there are unique features in your club, like maybe at your club you do round robin evaluations, or maybe you have a specific kind of table topics that you do, talk a little bit about that so they know what to expect. Conduct the business portion of the meeting provide information for the next meeting. And that's always a great time to turn the meeting over to your Vice President of Education to go over upcoming agendas and make sure that everybody's prepared for the next meeting. Make any announcements, upcoming events. It might even be area, division, and district events as well. And then adjourn the meeting. Never adjourn the meeting without coming back to your guests. If you have time, ask them for a brief comment. What did they think? What did they learn? What are they taking away? Something that's relevant and gives you an idea of how successful you are being with your guests, being encouraging and inviting for them. And always ask the guests to join. Outside the club meeting, attend and vote at area council meetings. Now, you as president, the vice president of ed, and the vice president of membership are all members of your area council. When there's an opportunity to meet, be sure to do this. It's not only about planning for things like a club contest. You can talk about the challenges in your clubs. You can brainstorm together. You can share best practices, all sorts of things that you can do to support each other. Plus, that's a great way for your area director to share information like incentives from the district or special events that are coming up. Attend and vote at the annual business meeting. District 115 will have their district council meeting on May 1st at 1 o'clock. Please plan to attend. It's virtual. There's no reason not to do it. You'll receive a notice a few weeks in advance, plus the agenda, so you know what it is you're going to be deciding and voting on. Your voice matters. You and your Vice President Education have a vote, and no proxies are accepted in a virtual meeting. Appoint an audit committee. Some clubs do this, some don't. But whichever way you go, be sure that you're always supporting your treasurer and keeping a close accounting of what's going on with the members' funds. Appoint a nominating committee. And guess what? It's time to do that. Usually the immediate past president will help with this. They might be the chair for the committee, but put together a group of experienced people who can look at members who might be interested, encourage members to step up into leadership. And that way the members also know what the process is. They know who they're going to go to say, hey, I'd like to be the sergeant at arms next round. Elections should happen in May so that you can turn those new officer lists into Toastmasters International by the end of June. Outside the club meeting, continuing. Yes, there's more. It does take time to really have a successful, strong club. You'll be the one who receives official correspondence from World Headquarters. If you haven't gone to Club Central lately on Toastmasters.org, do that and check and make sure that the correct address for you as president is what they use to send the correspondence to, particularly if you've never received anything. Schedule and chair your executive committee meetings. Be sure that you plan agendas. Send those out the week before and allow your other executive committee members to help you and offer suggestions of what needs to be taken care of in that particular meeting. You're the president, you're the one who gets to be the presiding officer, but you are a team and everybody has an equally important job to do for the club. Develop and improve club leadership. Ask those people who are standing out to you as potential leaders to step up, to take more opportunities, both in club roles and outside of the club, and then oversee your club administration. My husband always loves to say the easiest job in Toastmasters is being the club president, but only if you help your officers be prepared. If your officers don't know where to get resources, they're not sure what they're doing, then you're going to have to work a lot harder. So work together. And if your officers haven't looked, for instance, at the club leadership handbook in a while, remind them that that's a resource that they can go to and check on what their responsibilities and the details are. There's even a calendar that will help your club officers stay on track to take care of business for your distinguished club program. Excellent. And it continues. Advance the club and member achievement. Easiest way to do that, use your distinguished club program. And then interact effectively with other organizational levels. Again, those are simply your area, division, and district. Aha, now we're getting to the meat of it, the executive committee. As I said, you're the presiding officer. You're going to make sure that your committee is prepared to take care of the needs of the club members. Remember, ultimately, your goal is to serve the members and ensure the executive committee completes its duties. Don't do it for other people, but make sure they understand what it is and check in with them and encourage them. So what does an executive committee meeting agenda look like? Well, here's a good example. You want to take care of certain items of business, approve the agenda, see if there are any additions, and you can do that before the actual meeting. Approve the minutes from the last meeting. Yes, the secretary should be taking very detailed minutes, particularly if there's any business or any voting that happens. Then ask for the officers' reports, and I like to say and requests, because again, it's about working as a team. Ask them, how can we help you? Cover old business, cover new business, anything that's coming up in the future that you haven't discussed at a prior meeting. And then always set your next executive committee meeting before you leave so people can put it on the calendar, plan ahead. A great rule of thumb is set a particular day of the month and be consistent. It's even easier to do that now with Zoom. Are there any questions on the executive committee agenda? Anybody? No? Hang on, I want to welcome Lisa, who just entered. Lisa, are you there?
Hi, I am. Good afternoon.
Hi, do you want to be at the president's training?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I'm sorry to be very, very late.
It's okay. Will you please rename yourself to include the name of your club?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, I don't see any questions at this point. Let's go ahead and go back to work. And Lisa, I'm sorry, I kept you waiting just a little bit. I was in the middle of screen share.
That's okay.
Some of the specific duties of your executive committee: create a club budget, complete a club success plan. Ooh, there's that again. Strategize for success in the Distinguished Club Program. The best way to do that, refer to your club success plan, and then create and oversee all the other committees as necessary. There's the nominating committee. You might have a committee that puts together special events, an open house, maybe a separate committee for the contest. Perhaps your club has a membership committee to help the VP membership. Let's go ahead and go on. Your club success plan. I've referred to it several times already. You can get it from Toastmasters International along with the Distinguished Club program as item 1111. Toastmasters International makes it really easy to find and download information and resources that you need. If you're not sure where to find it on the website, use their search engine up on the right side and put in the relevant keywords and it will take you there. So the Club Success Plan gives your executive committee a chance to create a plan of operation. In other words, how will they act together? How will they communicate with each other? What are the guiding principles or the values that the executive committee will use to guide itself when making a decision? It's a place to write down your commitments for the Distinguished Club program each year. So this is where you make the actual Distinguished Club plan. Decide if you're going to be distinguished, select distinguished, or president's distinguished. And then the next section of it is all about scenarios that help you create action plans to achieve those goals. So in other words, if you want to add 8 new members during the year, how are you going to do that? Who's in charge of it? What resources do you need? And the most important thing about this Club Success Plan is it's a living document to refer back to help keep you on target. Think about it like this. If you were going to a brand new destination, you wouldn't just hop in the car and say, oh, it's in Mesquite. I'll just drive and find it. Of course not. You'd use GPS or find some type of a map app that would allow you to plan ahead for where you were going to go. And then if for some reason something happens and you got off course, you'd be able to refer back and get back on target to reach that goal. And that's what the Club Success Plan does. If your club hasn't done one, you might consider sitting down and talking through right now. And yes, sometimes it seems redundant when you do the scenarios and you fill out the action plan. But it's really just asking you these questions in the Club Success Plan. How will you fulfill the responsibility? When will it be completed? So fine, I want 8 new members in my club, but when will that happen? And perhaps instead of thinking, oh, I'm just going to do 8 and end up at the end thinking, oh no, I only have 1 new member and we said we were going to add 8. Uh-oh. Break it down into smaller increments. Who's available to help you? In other words, who's in charge of making this happen? And then what materials and resources can you use to reach the goal? Guess what? Those are your responsibilities for your action plan. They're also the responsibilities that are outlined, the questions that are answered in the Club Success Plan. And that's why I'm a huge advocate. So let's say you love being a leader in your club, you've been a successful president, you've learned a lot, and you get a taste of leadership and think, what do I do next? Be an area director. Why? If you do, you're going to continue to grow, not only as a leader, but a communicator. Area directors do get to speak often, and it requires organization and planning. Lots of personal growth available to you. And sometimes it even requires a little courage, just like being president does. Service to the clubs, service to individual members, and service to the organization. And then you actually will get credit towards some of your Toastmasters goals, like being a distinguished Toastmaster. How do you do it? Well, go to our district website, District 115 Toastmasters. Well, do it exactly the way it's written, d115tm.org. And you can download all of the necessary documents there if you would like to be considered to be a candidate. The documents need to be submitted by February 16th to George Lund, and there is George's contact information. And that's also on the worksheet I sent you with the important dates to remember in case you don't write it down right now. Don't worry. And here are those important dates you also have on the worksheet I sent out to most of you last night. It is in the chat. If for some reason you weren't able to access it yet, I'll put it again at the end of this presentation. So right now we're going to move into membership incentive with Talk Up Toastmasters. There's February 16th deadline for area director documents, as I said. April 1, of course, submit your club dues to be in good standing with Toastmasters International. Our District 115 conference is April 30th, Friday evening, and Saturday, May 1st. And that virtual district council business meeting I talked about is at 1 o'clock. Plan on that. And remember, no proxies. We need you in person, and it's important that your voice is counted in honor of your club. Hold your club officer elections coming up at the beginning of May. Another membership incentive, take advantage of this. And by the way, our District 115 also has incentives beyond just what Toastmasters.org offers. And you can really get some great things for your club, like Toastmasters International bucks that you can buy materials and resources. And then in June, you and the club secretary will receive information about voting at the international business meeting in August. It is something that, again, your voice matters. So on July 1st, you will be out of office, but this is information to pass on to your successor. And if you haven't started thinking about a successor, do it now so they can shadow you, so they can begin to see what's expected and be better prepared to hit the ground running on July 1st. And then finally, make sure that those new officers are submitted on Club Central by June 30th of the year. Here are some additional resources. And you notice there is the Distinguished Club Program and Club Success Plan. If you haven't worked with this, excuse me, please do so now. For the remainder of our time, I would like to see what you think. Some of the questions that are on the Finish Strong President's Training Workshop include, what do you as a president and your club do particularly well? Would anybody like to share? Oh, come on, you're brave. Jesse. And the reason for this is that it gives other people ideas that they can use in their clubs. So thanks, Jesse.
Okay. The one thing that's helped me out for being president of 3 Toastmaster clubs is have a good vice president of education. If you have a good vice president of education, they know how to organize, they know how to schedule, they know how to keep track of the Distinguished Club Program awards. If you have a great vice president of education, then it's going to make your job as president a lot easier. So that is one thing that I've learned when it comes to being president of 3 clubs, is if you have to have a great membership group of people with club officers, that's one thing. But to have a great vice president of education, it makes a big difference, because that is a big role as well.
And I agree. And you work so closely with the vice president of education. President and vice president of education are definitely a partnership. So thank you for bringing that up. Name something else that you think your club does particularly well. I can see all of you. There's not very many. So, Tino, you're brave. Tell us.
This is going into the second year of me being in Toastmasters. So I actually just completed my first year, and it's my first time being president. That being said, the people in my club are amazing. I don't have anything else to reference off of because Larry, Robert, Gene, and Jean are they are the most amazing people I've ever met and have helped me with my speaking immensely. So what I would say we do better than all the other clubs is we are the most welcoming club, warm-hearted club. I feel like we do that very well because it's something that all our guests always come up and tell us. So we're
So,
very, very welcoming.
how do you do that? How do you welcome your guests?
We just interact with them. We enjoy the new guests' company. We ask questions,
Aha.
and we make them feel like they're a part of the club already.
Okay. Awesome. And do you ask them to join?
We do every
All
single
right.
time at the end of the club.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Is there anybody else who has something that they'd like to share that their club does exceptionally well?
I'll
Romelda,
share.
yeah, go ahead.
We had in Northern Voices before the pandemic, we were really moving swiftly with gaining new members. We were on a pretty good roll. The reason that I think one of the things that, well, I know one of the things that we really, really do well is we make people feel really, really good and connected, a part of our group. We already incorporate them in our group as to let them, to help them to feel like they already belong. We've been told that a few times, and we have great energy and we just have fun. And most people say, you guys are a family. You all act like a family. And that's how we are all the time. We just have a great time with each other. And that's how we make the guests feel good about being there, like they're part of the family.
Excellent, excellent. And do you ask them to join?
Well, we have some that we ask them, but we give them, let them know that we're not going to pressure them, but we would love to have them. Yeah,
That's
so
fine. No
yeah,
pressure.
no pressure.
No
Yeah.
pressure. That's fine. But it is important that we ask. If we don't ask our guests to join, how do they know that we value them being there? So by all means, don't be shy about that part of it. And no hard sell, because that's a turnoff for sure. But as you said, if you're having fun, if you have really productive, timely meetings, and they can see that people are having fun together, and yet they're achieving goals, they're supporting each other, nurturing, and working together towards goals, that's very inviting. But well organized meetings are super important as well, so that when the guest comes, they think, yeah, I want to be part of this. They're friendly, they're fun, and they're well organized and productive. Excellent. Well, we've talked about some of the things that are working well. Let's go to the other side of this. As president, what is your biggest challenge? And don't be general. This year brings with it some very specific challenges that we've never faced before, any of us. And it's been hard on Toastmasters all around the world, not just here in District 115, not just in your club or my club. There's challenges because of switching over to the virtual meetings. Tell me, in addition to that, or perhaps related to that, what is your biggest challenge? James, we'll just do a little table topics.
I would I would probably say since we were a distinguished club, so we got new members, but again, we plateaued and a few fell off, work schedules, work conflicts, what have you. We always seem to have just enough people in the meeting to where we have to fill in many roles at the very last minute. I would say I'm working full time now, and that for me personally creates a challenge just for the organizational part of it, the preparation, the energy coming home and having to, I got to work on a speech, or I got to work on this or do that when I don't feel like doing that. We have a person, a member at our club, who actually sent out an email to all of us saying that she doesn't want to participate in the meetings for at least the nearable future. She'll still attend the meetings, but she doesn't want to fill in any role. She just wants to, kind of participate. So that creates some challenges as well.
Sure, yeah. Well, any suggestions for James about that?
We kind of have the same issue at our club with having to fill in a lot of the roles. We don't see it as a negative in our club, to be honest. It's more time for us to practice. We know it's going to go back to normal eventually, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So maybe just try to look at it like an opportunity to just practice a little bit more. So when we start doing this again and people want to start coming in, we sound that much more better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, that's a great point. I maybe I mischaracterized myself. I don't see it as a negative. It is a challenge. It just seems like some people, when they come to the meeting, maybe they're a little apprehensive, like, oh, I now I know what I'm gonna do, and all of a sudden we ask for volunteers. But you're exactly right. It's just an opportunity to, like table topics, an opportunity to think off the cuff, and that's where you really gain a lot of growth. So no, that's yeah, you're right. It's not negative. I think it is kind of challenging, but I think just, yeah.
I agree. I'm going to go ahead and step in just a little bit here. Let me ask all of you, are you using Free Toast Host as your website? And are you aware of things like, if the speakers go in beforehand and put in their path and their project, that the evaluation form becomes available on the website so you can download it directly from there? That can really help everybody be prepared before the meeting. Also, do you have backup speakers? Is that a regular spot? So, if somebody doesn't show up and they're not prepared, then there's somebody else who knows, hey, I might get called on. I should have something ready to go just in case. Both of those things. I love using Free Toast Host because it allows everybody to take care of business beforehand. Now we can't just come to a meeting and talk to our fellow Toastmasters and take care of business. It has to be handled separately before the meeting. And the Free Toast Host site really allows you to do that. Evaluators can get their evaluation forms there. The Toastmaster can print introductions from the speakers, provided, of course, the speakers put the information in. And those are great habits to get into because it empowers everybody to come better prepared. Um, you might try some novel things. What about, instead of asking for volunteers, create a rotation and just rotate people into each role as you go along? Some vice presidents education do that, so
Oh.
that everybody knows they're not going to come and not have a role to take care of. Everybody's involved. The more involved your members and guests, for that matter, are, the better connection they're going to have, and the more they're going to feel they're receiving value. So by all means, it's experiential, and that requires participation. Are there any other challenges? And by the way, this kind of melds right into the next question, which is, what is your club's biggest challenge to finish strong on June 30th? And I think the first had more to do with how you're feeling about being president and personal challenges. This has more to do with how the club is moving towards finishing as a distinguished club, or finishing strong. Maybe this year you won't be distinguished. We certainly encourage you to add enough members that you're eligible to. I know it's a challenge. Have you had special events, everybody, so that
Yeah.
you invite guests in?
Yes, we did at our last meeting. We had a membership building event. It went very well. Well, I should say we had a great time and all. We have maybe one potential. Then we have a couple of others too that want to come on. So the timing just wasn't good. So we're trying to work that out. But yeah, we just had that our last meeting. So we just
Would
have
you
to do
all
some
agree
follow-ups.
that the biggest challenge still remains building membership?
Yes.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be that, because let's face it, if there were more people available, finding people to fill roles wouldn't be as big an issue either. Uh, Visit other clubs, bring back some new ideas, or encourage, not necessarily just you, but encourage your members to go to other clubs. And when they're there, share the information about your club. This is a prime time to attract people, not just from the Las Vegas area, but from around the world, to not only visit your club, but join. I'm in 2 clubs that are pretty much bursting, and we have international members. I'm so excited about that. We've got people from Japan and Germany, Uganda, South Africa, Peru, Canada, all the states in the United States. I mean, we have people from all over. And a couple of things that have really worked for us are special events, using Meetup or some other social media platform. Facebook can work for you too if your club isn't doing that. And then finding somebody who's willing to maybe be a super recruiter for you. Somebody who goes out to other clubs virtually and invites them to come visit your club. It does work. The more you go out and reach out to potential new members, the better luck you'll have, rather than waiting for them to just come to you. Any other ideas about that? Oh, and that opening the club early so that you can talk to people before the meeting, just like you would in person, only now it's on Zoom. That really helps build those relationships and get people interested in joining your club. And then offer to stay on afterwards and answer questions if you can. I know sometimes it's not possible. Jesse, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Yes, and I got to admire the people at Jackpot as well as storytellers. Just because we're in a Zoom environment does not mean you have to think in your club box. What Jackpot and what Storytellers has done is a prime example on going outside of your club box. If there is a challenge, which is membership, but there's one good part about this is you can actually go to different clubs all over the world, let alone the country, get a chance to meet with different people, get a chance to promote your club, and heck, invite people over your club for a Toastmasters meeting. You can invite people in Australia, in the Middle East, in Europe, in Australia, and there are other people that you actually get a chance to meet all over the world. All you have to do is just go to either the Toastmasters Facebook page or even ask people. If you're an international connection within Toastmasters, just ask different people, what good Toastmasters clubs are there? So you get a whole lot of answers, and you never know unless you ask and go outside your box.
Right. And one of the other advantages, you may see something they're doing that your club never even thought about that might be a great addition to kind of re-energize the club, get the members a little bit more excited and invested, and to bring in membership. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that very much. Let's see, Mitch, what do you think your club's biggest challenge is?
Club's biggest challenge, I mean, like you said, I think, the Zoom, not being in person has been a challenge. But, as you know, Sherry, we've done a great job with Zoom for the, for the members, and, we have educational moments, particularly about Zoom and Free Toast Host. So we're thanks to you in large part. So I think the members are pretty well versed in how to navigate through Zoom now and how to do different things. And also with Free Toast Host, we just had that educational moment. I think it was Monday, right? Didn't we? I think we just had it for the Free Toast Host. You were showing us, well, you showed us at the end how to go on to.
Right, screen share makes life a lot easier than it used to be.
Right. So things like screen share, Zoom, to be honest, I never even heard of Zoom prior to COVID. Never even heard of it. And now we can do all these things because once you learn how to do it, you have that skill for forever. But we have a great, our club has a great group of longtime core members. And I think that that's just very helpful, and it's helpful for in a lot of respect, but particularly because if somebody can't make it at the last minute, we know somebody can jump into that role, whatever that role is, and even have a dual role if necessary. So sometimes we have to do that. But we have a great club. I mean, I've been in this club for, I don't even know how long, 15 years, something like that.
Wow.
Great. Well, thank you. Yeah, Mitch is a new president. He was a president once years ago, but our president that started the year just got to a point in her life she wanted to step away for a while, and that's fine. And Mitch was gracious enough to step up. And that just happened like a week ago, which was just in time for the training. Great. So, I hope, Mitch, that hearing what everybody else is saying here is coming in helpful for you too.
Yes.
Good. Library 2.0 and beyond, you took your name off. So I don't know. Remind us who's behind that mask. The masked Toastmaster.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi.
Do rename yourself so your name and your club are both included. We're greedy. We want both.
That's fine. Good evening, and I apologize, fellow President Toastmasters, for being late. I am currently at work, currently in charge.
Oh, wow.
But I needed to say hello and to be a part of this makeup session. Thank you for doing this. TLI is very, very important This is my first year. This is my first time being the president. And to answer your question really quickly, may I ask you to repeat it to make sure that I hone in correctly and give you what you need?
Now, what's your club's biggest challenge to finish strong at the end of this year?
Currently, because we are a closed club, our biggest challenge is to not only support each other in our work environment, but to support each other outside of our work environment, and to remember to change our hats quickly because we're so small. We have reached out to HR, and we have commitments for June in terms of growing membership, but just basically just keeping in touch. And we've suffered closures, and just really making a point to just check in with each other once a week, meeting or not, just more so on a human level. So thank you for that really good question.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. The more connected your members are with each other, the easier it is to be committed to making your club a success. So thank you for reminding us about that. And even smaller groups can be very successful in supporting their members. You might consider asking also your area directors for more suggestions and resources. Remember, your area director, your division directors are there to help support your club. So let's say you're looking at ways to grow your membership or some other challenge. You're not alone. You've got all of each other there. You've got me. You have all of the District 115 resources available to you, but start with your area director. Make sure you have a close relationship and you can go to that person for suggestions and resources. And sometimes, like if you're going to have a special event and you don't have a lot of people normally at the meetings, ask other people to come in and support you for that meeting so that you create more energy. Very important for the guests to see vigorous and vibrant club meeting, because that's what they want to join.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a challenge to them, if it's not an opportunity for growth, why do they want to be there? So don't be afraid to ask other people for help. And very important message, because we're all in this struggle together. And Vicki, I'm going to change the question for you because I haven't heard from you yet. What action or idea did you learn today that you're going to take back to your club? Excuse me, Vicki. And well, the rest of you put the answer to that question in chat, please. What action or idea you learned today will help your club finish strong? And then Vicki, go ahead and I'd like to hear it out of your mouth.
I have an excellent VP, and we have picked up 3 members in the last 6 weeks.
Awesome.
What is tough for us as we get down to June 1 is that half of our club are CPAs. So we start to lose our CPAs around this time, one by one, and then they return right after April 15th. What I liked is the information about Club Central and looking at going to council meetings to get other ideas and pivots with people. That's what I wrote down, I took away.
Excellent. If you haven't had an area council meeting or you haven't in a while, reach out to your area director. And you have my email address. In fact, when we end here, I'll put it up briefly. It's sparkerflute@hotmail.com, but I'll put it up. In fact, I'll put it in chat for everybody.
I printed that page that you had that you
Right, it's on there. If you're not sure who your directors are, I can let you know.
I know who our director is because she's visited our.
Perfect. Well, that's wonderful news. Thank you.
I think she's visited almost 3 times. She's excellent.
Great, great, great. So some of the things I see here are find the opportunities in every challenge. Jesse, thank you for putting that in. And Tino, I love that you said that. Ask for help. Absolutely. Please. We're all here doing this together. Completely engage guests. Absolutely. And this jumped. Hang on. Promote our clubs by visiting other clubs. Right. And then you learn things about the clubs too. It's entertaining and fun. And Mitch was completely engaged guests, so they feel like they are part of the club from the start. Excellent. Jesse learned that no matter how many times he holds this role, he can still learn something new. Times change and situations change. Whew, amen. And then Tino, honestly, just knowing exactly what a president is supposed to do. I love the slides and the explanation. Yay, thank you. And then to find a super recruiter for membership. Good, thank you. I'm glad that some of these ideas stuck. If you want to talk about anything else, you can reach out to me and reach out to your fellow officers. You are not alone. Go back, check your club success plan. Dedicate yourself to accomplishing your goals, and remember the bottom line is always serving your members. When you do that with integrity, respect, service, and excellence, your club will continue to grow and finish strong. With that, we are officially ending this session. If you have any other questions or you'd like to discuss something a little bit more, I can stay on. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. But please remember, you're not alone. And I know that every one of your clubs, with you at the lead, can finish strong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry.
Good round
Thank you
of
very
applause for
much.
Patty.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you very,
go ahead.
I just said, thank you very much.
Yes,
It's
thank you.
quite a bit of time to organize and teach these. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Sherry,
And thank you, everybody, for your participation. I love it.
hey,
Yay.
Sherry,
Yes,
care.
yes.
thank you for teaching this old dog new tricks.
I don't know if I could do that, but you're welcome.
I hope everybody has a great evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
Good
you
night,
very
everyone.
much.
Everyone,
Good
take
people.
care.
Good night. Bye.
Jerry.
Thanks, Tino. Thanks, Romelda. Nice to see all of you again. Thanks,
Yes, you
James.
too.
Thanks for all of
Bye-bye.
your
Thank you.
participation. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Mitch, I'll be seeing you soon. All right. Bye. Did you have a question? Nope.